Hi, welcome to Growing Homemakers. My name is Sarah. I am holding my camera, so I'm sorry for the shaking. I am in my plant shack. As you can see, I already have stuff growing. It is kind of late at night. I'm over here turning out the lights, and baby's asleep. You might be able to hear the monitor I have on my shoulder. And husband has gone to bed already for work tomorrow. So this is week 3. Yep, week 3 of the Pantry Challenge. And sadly, I lost the folder again. I do not know what I am doing wrong when moving videos from my phone to the computer. This happened in week 1 also, although I managed to have some videos. Again, week 3, I do have some videos as well. But we can't figure out what I'm doing wrong. I showed my husband the exact process I'm doing to move the videos. The file is there. I unhook my phone. I turn the I unhook my phone. I turn the computer off so I can edit the videos later. And when I go to edit, they're gone. I don't know what I'm doing. So thank you for continuing to come and watch us while I'm learning how to get these videos edited and uploaded for everyone to see our journey on our homestead. I do really appreciate it. So week 3 of the Pantry Challenge, we had done some very fun things. I lost a lot of the videos. Those tomatoes in the bags you saw that were in the freezer when I did the walkthrough of our Pantry Challenge, those got canned. We got 6 pints, 6 full pints of tomato sauce. We were completely out on our shelves, so that's really nice to have that again. We also made sourdough pizza crust, and sadly I lost all of those videos, which just means we're gonna have to make sourdough pizza crust again and do a homemade pizza night. We still have, I believe we have homemade mozzarella, we have homemade pizza sauce still, so that will be nice. My dad will make his homemade Italian sausage for him, so you will see that video again, or that food, I should say. We will make the pizza again, and you guys will get to see that and how we make the sourdough pizza crust. I also made sourdough bread because we are officially out in both households of any store-bought bread. That I lost the beginning part of the video, or the beginning stages of making that sourdough, but I do have when I was baking it. So I'll share that video. That will be posted in here. But I'm also making more sourdough on week 4. 1 loaf of sourdough for our household, and then my mom usually gets half the loaf, lasts 3 or 4 days. So we are making that on a regular basis now, unless my mom makes her bread, and then I can take a few days off from making sourdough. But she's been working a lot, so she has not had time to make her, I think it's buttermilk white bread that she makes. So here are the videos that we do have left of what we had for dinner this week, or our meals.
Okay, so I didn't film the assembly of this tonight, but for tonight's Pantry Challenge meal, I wanted hamburger helper, and this is homemade hamburger helper. And Maria and Sarah both are kind of picky about flavors and textures and stuff like that. So I wanted to find a recipe that basically didn't smell like vomit, which was what my last homemade hamburger helper, smelled like.
It tasted good.
It tasted good, but the smell was not good. And I think I use Velveeta. I went the old school, I like bad, not real cheese products way, and I shouldn't have because it wasn't good. So this one is actually a recipe that I found online and printed out, and it's just this. It's just this recipe, homemade hamburger helper. The author's name is Stephanie. I just happened to find it online, and I liked what the ingredient list was. So it's our beef, ground beef from the cow that we bought last year. Macaroni that I don't even know where that macaroni came from, but we buy it in bulk, like who knows even how many years ago. And then spices, some half and half. A jar of beef broth that, of course, we canned. And by we, I mean Maria and Sarah.
You know.
And that's it. So, oh, and cheddar cheese, which we use Maria's cheddar cheese. And I've tested it while I'm letting it cook down here a little bit, and it is really, really yummy. So that's tonight's Pantry Challenge meal. Thank you.
So we ran our chicken broth in the freeze dryer. So we're gonna check it. We didn't weigh it before we put it in there because it was liquid, so it wouldn't have mattered what it weighed. So now we're gonna take it out. We're gonna give it its first weight. It's very light.
Yeah, it's crazy light, right?
Crazy light, yeah. So I'm gonna weigh it. We've been weighing on grams. We used to do. So I'm gonna weigh it.
So
Yeah.
that's what she's got a
And that's what it looks like. It's very
ledger.
very light. It did puff up a little bit.
And it pulled away from the sides of the tray.
Pulled away from the sides. Yep. The sides and the front and the back. That one really puffed up.
Yeah, look at that.
That one's also 800.
And
Which makes sense because we put about the same amount of liquid in every one of the trays. A quart. I mean, it could have been off by a very small amount.
but right now it seems to be pretty even, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
So this scale, for some reason, flips. It'll be 798, and then it'll flip like to 796 or 800. I don't know why. But like I said, see, it just flipped to 800. So I'm gonna
Leave it where it's at for right now.
798. I'll
Yeah.
just leave it at 798. So we're gonna go ahead and run it. You can't over dry. I'm gonna set it for 8 hours and just let it run until the morning, and we'll come and check it in the morning when we get up. So we're gonna do more dry. We already closed the drain valve. Continue, and it's set at 2, so every time you hit the up arrow, it goes 30 seconds, right?
30 minutes.
30 minutes in it. So I'm gonna run it. Probably does not need 8 hours, but like I said, otherwise it's just gonna freeze and keep it cold, and it builds up all this ice around it. So I would rather set it to
Dry. And
dry.
And that way when we weigh it in the morning, if it's lost weight, we know it's got to run again, right?
Yeah, then we'll run it just for a couple of hours in the morning if it's lost more weight. So we don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see if it loses any more weight by the morning. But hopefully then in the morning we'll only have to run it for 2 hours and it'll be done. And that's just to check. We always run it for an extra time at the end just to make sure that the weight stays the same. That's how we determine if it's dry, rather than going and breaking pieces open and making sure they're not wet. I mean, we do that sometimes too, but this is our real check, making sure there's no more weight. And then we'll test a little piece, but making sure the weight doesn't go down is we found is a good way of
Making sure it's actually dry.
Yeah,
We
making
did
sure it's
lose a batch of grapefruit, right?
grapefruit, and we suspected it wasn't done. I took it out. Sarah was going to put it back in. She didn't have time, didn't put it back in, and never got put back in, and it was wasted because when we came out and checked it, it was all
Moldy.
moldy. Yeah, it was terrible, and they were
That-
really good grapefruit too.
That was a valuable
So we won't
lesson
make
on
that mistake again.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, we'll
That's
check
it.
it tomorrow.
Okay, this is take 2. This is our pantry meal for tonight. I got some water with a little oil in it, a little salt, getting ready to boil. We're going to be doing penny pasta. This is out of our pantry. This is a bag we've had for quite a long time. Penny ziti. So it's penny ziti rigate. And this bag, when I put it in, before I put it in my pasta cooker, I washed it real well because the last bag was not good. And I ended up throwing away an entire bag of penny pasta that was just too old. And so I'm glad we're doing this challenge. And then we got a chuck roast. I put this in here completely frozen. And it's wash your sister sauce, French onion soup that Maria canned, and some spices, pepper, basil, things like that. Just a few little things. It smells and is going to taste phenomenal. And a little bit of steamed broccoli, and that's it. So that's our dinner for tonight, and that's a valuable lesson and a good reason to do these pantry challenges, because stuff gets stuffed into the back of the cabinets, and then it gets forgotten about until you take it out and you go, whoa, how old is that? And that's what I did with that first bag of pasta. You think it's dried pasta, it's sealed in a bag, it's going to be good, right? Wrong. So that's tonight's meal. Thanks. Okay, so this is today's pantry meal video. We had cushaw squash that we had from the summer, and Sarah canned them. So she actually just pureed them, and they were in the freezer. So I made a squash soup, and as you can see, it's quite thick. I thinned it down with our freeze-dried chicken broth, and it's got cinnamon and nutmeg and salt and pepper in it, and then a little bit of cream, or a little bit of milk. So we'll thin it down a little bit more in our bowl when we eat it. And then we're just doing the leftover beef I made yesterday, and the noodles are in the microwave, and that's it. That's today's pantry video.
So I made yogurt yesterday, and this is what I'm doing with the yogurt. We're going to make yogurt drops, and we're going to put them in the freeze dryer. Oh, I got to set that down. So I added cherry pie filling that we had. This will all be in the previous video. And then I put the yogurt, the flavored yogurt, in a piping bag. I just put a round tip on it, and I'm making drops. This is the first time I've ever done this. It's the first time I've ever used a piping bag, I believe. So I am not very
Proficient.
But we'll see what happens. And the reason I decided to do this is my grandson my daughter buys these little yogurt drops for him. It's, comes in the baby food thing. It's little snacks, and they're yogurt drops. So this is even better. Homemade raw milk yogurt with homemade Bing cherry flavoring, made into yogurt drops. Thank you.
It. Okay, so for today's pantry challenge, we're doing spaghetti. And after I made the pasta dish last week, which I think I made... Oh, it was the beef that I made, and then I made the penny noodles, and we ended up having to throw an entire pot of noodles away. We've decided we're going to try and get through our pantry and use up the pasta that's in here. Now we're about done with that. We do have these little packages of penny pasta that are in here that we got to check, and those may end up going in the garbage. Then we've got a package of egg noodles. Those are fairly new. They had been purchased. And we've got shells. We'll do stuffed shells with. We've got arboreal rice. Some of this stuff has been in here for quite a little while. So the pantry challenge has come just in time to get rid of it. Now, what I'm doing today is we're doing spaghetti. So let me get my stovetop going here. We have a jar of crushed tomatoes that Sarah and Maria canned, but we also have these cans of tomato sauce. We have a store around us. It's a discount grocery store. And a lot of times you go there and the stuff they have that's boxed or canned is right at the expiration date or maybe past the expiration date a little bit. But sometimes you get lucky. And this time we got lucky. We bought cases of this organic tomato sauce that's not even close to the expiration date yet. And the price was really good. So I'm going to be using that tomato sauce in my ragu today. I'm lubricating my pan with a little bit of bacon grease. And then I made yesterday, I made Italian sausage, and we did the pizzas last night, and the Italian sausage went on the pizza. But we're going to be doing that in, it's about a pound, a little over a pound of Italian sausage that came from our hog that we had butchered this past spring. And so I'm going to be doing the Italian sausage there. So these onions are out of our garden. They were really good. They've been holding up real well. So it's last fall's onions. We have a few leftover sweet peppers that Sarah had purchased. I don't even know how long ago. They're starting to get wrinkly and soft, and they need to be used up. And then, of course, the garlic.
So we have some sad news. For the second time this month, I have lost all the files that I had put in the Pantry challenge. I don't know what is going on with my phone. They were there. I actually have a couple of the videos, and the rest disappeared. I do not know what I am doing on my computer, or if it's the computer malfunctioning somehow. This week it was weird because there were 3 videos of my mom processing the chicken stock and then freeze drying it. I have the video of her putting it in the freeze dryer, but I don't have the 2 videos of her packaging it. And they all went on the computer at the same time. So I don't know what happened. I lost us processing the tomatoes from the freezer for the Pantry challenge to clean out our freezer. And I lost the videos for us making homemade sour bread pizza dough for the first time. And the start of me making the homemade sourdough bread. I haven't put that bread in the oven yet. I will show you that. I will have to, I guess that just means we have to make more homemade pizza and homemade bread. So I can show you those videos again. But right now what I'm going to show you is me putting the bread in the oven. Right now the oven is preheating to 550 degrees with my Dutch oven in it. And then once that's preheated, I'm going to get my bread in. I'll pull it out of the fridge. I did decide to put it in the fridge last night. I'll pull it out of the fridge and we'll get it right in the oven cooking. So my oven is preheated to 550 degrees. This is my dough. I did end up refrigerating it yesterday. It's been refrigerating about 17 hours. I used one of my mom's, this isn't really a flour sack. It's like a muslin cloth. That's the closest thing I had to use yesterday, so that's what I did. Here is what my dough looks like. I tried to put it in a bowl that kind of mimics my Dutch oven. So what I'm supposed to do is invert it onto a piece of parchment paper. I've actually never done this part. I normally just put it in parchment in the bowl and then move the parchment dough directly into my Dutch oven. So this is a new spot for me. So we're gonna awkwardly invert it and pull it up. Now I'm supposed to score it. I do not have a fancy lame. I usually just take paring knife. Now the paring knife is not wet, but I did dip it in flour to give it a little extra non-stick. And I usually just come in and score. Oh, apparently I'm going to make numerous. And just score it a little bit. You can use a serrated knife too. That's what we used when I worked in the bakery. So this isn't going to be the prettiest when it comes out, but you want to have a good score in there. My guess would be maybe a 1/4 inch thick. Now, here's this. I'm going to try and do this so you can see everything. I'm going to pull the Dutch oven out of the oven. And you have to be careful. Ovens are hot in the first place, but normally you're like 350 degrees, 400. We are at 550 degrees. Coming up. Well, there's that. So my dad just pointed out to me, Mom's oven mitt burnt onto her Dutch oven. That is how hot this is. Look it. There's her oven mitt.
You need to tip it a little more.
Right, I gotta bring it back. That's what's steaming. So we're gonna take a pause. Okay.
Go.
Okay, so the timer went off. We're only at 400 degrees now, so we should not have, like, here, this problem. The Dutch oven was so hot it actually burnt the cork board, or the cork mat that they use for heating. Okay, so here is my loaf of sourdough. Now the cut, you saw me when I made like 3 cuts, which you're not supposed to do. It's supposed to be one nice even cut. So that's why it looks like that. And I probably should have made it a little deeper. So I temp my sourdough. It should be between 205 and 210 roughly. Let's see if we get there. Felt a little soft when I put it in there. All right, it's there, so I am not gonna cook it again. Although you can see on there, there's a little bit of dough, but it feels pretty dry. So we're just gonna let it cool now, and that is my loaf of sourdough. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being patient with me while I'm learning how to do all of this, and I will see you next video. Bye.